They look
Oh, we
pie.
are
Well, I
live.
know. There you go.
All right, we're
Hmm.
back. So let me go ahead and get this back out. Let me erase this and let me go ahead and put this back out. Um, yeah, so there is the emperor has no pants. I mean, it doesn't get no realer than that. The emperor has no pants.
He has no clothes.
Yeah, he has no
He's
clothes, he has no
completely naked.
pants, and he is outside doing a dance. And I was just saying before the live ended that um that Donald Trump's gains is being used against him by Democrats. And I feel like the economic gains are completely dismissed because the guy who exposed Jeffrey Epstein is now the guy they're saying it's helping to shield Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it's a game. It's a game. He's actually playing them so hard. He's trying to get them to press for him to release and say more, and they're going to implicate themselves. They're actually going to put their own foot in their own mouths by doing it. And so,
What what's this Indian guy's name? What's his name? The guy that was with Massey, the Democrat. What's his name?
Ro Khanna,
O'Connor.
Ro Khanna.
Wasn't he sitting right next to that creature when Jeffrey was texting her, asking her if she was chewing gum?
Um,
If I'm not
I
mistaken,
don't.
he was to her right. He was
Yes,
sitting
I
right
believe
next to
so.
her.
Yeah.
While
Yep.
Jeffrey Epstein was texting his colleague.
Oh,
You know,
yes. We were
for
talking
everything
about the
that
right.
yeah,
Mhm.
for everything that he says in terms of how he wants transparency, getting people to speak out. Why hasn't he said anything to his colleague about her interaction? Because I mean, shit, she don't have to be in the paperwork. She was in his cell phone, sitting right next to him.
But they never thought that anybody was gonna know that. It was their little secret. She's, there asking questions. This person's testifying and they're playing games. And she's literally texting him while and nobody knows. I mean, they feel like they've got enough cover that they're never going to be held to account. And so they ran around, oh, no one's ever gonna know. And now we know.
So
So
you don't think
they're
that it's funny though that every time he goes on one of these podcasts and he opens his mouth and he talks and he starts to speak, right? And he talks about transparency and how he's not okay with, high level rich people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. This woman was texting Jeffrey Epstein while she was sitting right next to him,
Mhm.
interrogating somebody who's trying to snitch on Donald Trump. And you do I haven't had seen one person ask him about it, and I haven't seen him address it either. Not
And we're
one time.
talking about Michael Cohen, right? In the Michael Cohen.
Yeah, and then Michael
Yeah.
Colton. I think I sent
Mhm.
you a video so I could get it so I go ahead and repost it.
Yep, you bet. Well, that guy he was trying to do anything he could to save his own skin. I mean, let's be real. He was ready to make a deal to save his own skin, and he got away with. He's a snitch. He broke confidence with somebody who extended a lot of trust to him. So that's just who
Now,
he is.
we know the president has a lot of support, but this administration doesn't. And there are a lot of people who like I mean, I've read I could just go through and read some of some comments from some of their pages and then I can read the comments from like last year off any post and
Hmm.
it's just two completely different takes
Hmm.
as to how people are feeling like you know what I mean like right now as opposed to before and then I just seen Benny Johnson say that Trump is ready to announce aliens too at that.
Well, yeah, because Obama did the other day, and then of course he backpedaled on that one, saying yes, he'd seen and they did exist, and then he backpedaled on it. And I see, I watch so many of the comments. I'm tracking the news all the time, and there is a mixed sentiment, But usually when it's a conservative platform, I'm still seeing a lot of support. I see a lot of impatience more than anything for things to happen. But I've said this to you before many times. It took a long time to get us in this much trouble and have this many, you know, subversive plots and all kinds of other things happening behind the scenes. It's going to take us a long time to get out of it. And the worst Republican is better than just about any Democrat because even though some of them disagree, at least they're talking and they're trying to find solutions. And the Democrats, they're just lockstep. So when you think, "Oh, I'm impatient, not enough's happening," that's great, but what's your alternative? You can actually go to the right and say, "Look, I don't like what you're doing, answer me, tell me why you're making these choices." And you're going to get an answer. It might be not all true, partially true, but you're at least going to get dialogue. You don't get that from the left at all. And that's you can't even work with that when there's no dialogue. So I'm going to stay on the conservative side.
I think that this administration is doing Donald Trump a disservice. I have to honestly tell you that from just like me just going here now and just going just to see the comments, you know what I mean? Man,
They need to get people out there really and
there is no
today.
it's this administration. It's like, look, the first time he was outside, I mean, first time he was president, the first administration, this man was outside. You couldn't be outside and not see him outside, right? So
Mhm,
you understand there's a lot that got to get done. You know, stress in his life. It's hard to move around like that. Okay, but you also have other people in this administration because this is his last term. So you
mhm,
also have other people in this administration who could be going out there. And I'm not saying using Turning Point USA because Turning Point USA sadly does not have the same amount of currency that it did. And even though they did a great job
mhm.
uh, during the Super Bowl and putting on a beautiful performance, I think that you have to also take into account that it was Kid Rock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was Kid Rock. Like, you know what I mean? So
Of
you have to take
course.
into account that Kid Rock was there, he was involved, right? And I'm not, and there's other tons of other talent too. But you're not safe with the base that you had that you know has dwindled, right? It's because people are mad about a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Whether you say it's the Israel Palestine thing or whether you say it's our relationship, there are a lot of people who refuse to just say, outright the truth. Like you can't say Israel's done something that the United States hasn't done or hasn't told Israel to do. And I think that people like to take
Absolutely.
it and make it a twist around thing where I just think that they're just bad people in control overall, no matter where you go. And then to absolve the people that are here from their crimes to try to make it seem like they look like stooges, I think that shit is just ridiculous to me. When absolute power just is absolute corruption. I see a lot that this president has done to try to stop the encroachment of this new world order, but then also I still see elements of the Illuminati or the deep state or whatever it is you want to call it. I'm going to call it the Illuminati. I still see elements of of the 13 families still trying to, because just look at online. As soon as you go online, it's just full of hate. Like, I mean, and it doesn't matter. You pick a country. It doesn't have to be pick a country. It's just full of hate online. And I just see them just destroying the people's experience as far as being an American. And I mean, sadly, I don't think that this administration gave him the correct instructions. The moment that the Jeffrey Epstein files were going to be released, I believe that the president should have been. You can't instruct him, but you can definitely advise him to address the nation first. Let them know that there are files. There are going to be people who you're going to like, whether it's a celebrity, singer, dead or alive, even me. Names will be mentioned in these files, but it won't be because of nefarious things, it will simply be because you're mentioned. There
Mhm.
was a hotline people were able to call. It took thousands of calls and people prank calls. All of that information is in these files too as well. There's horrible images in these files. You're gonna have a stomach in order to see them. But I'm glad that it's exposed. You're getting ahead of it. You understand, like
Mhm.
you saying, like, you just preparing them for it. And then you also say at the same time that you're gonna start holding people accountable. Yes, it's a statute of limitations, but there's definitely people that you can hold accountable. I don't think that this administration has done this president any favor by keeping people there that are named in ways that look funny,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, having people who are named there in some of the most disgusting ways sitting in the White House right next to the president having dinner. I'm gonna let you have at it for the next. I'm gonna just let you go ahead and go off because, man,
Well,
I
we've
just like
there's
it's
like
like
20
go ahead, cook it.
no, there's like 20 different things to touch here, from what you've just said. I think that there's always going to be people that are going to undermine the agenda. Um, the first term, it was chaos, and he was did not have the good advice for who to bring in to the administration, and so he had idealistic views of what he could do, and he did a lot, but it was against the tide. He was going upstream with everything he tried, and they had so many um, pieces and tactics in place to go after him. They undermined everything he did. Now this time there has been more order, um, and but there is so much to tackle, and I think that Trump is better off than he was last time. Is it perfect? Does he have all of the personnel he needs? Probably not. There are people behind the scenes that are undermining him. Absolutely. But I think that Trump is looking at the big picture. He's looking where the ball is going to be on, in 3 or 4 years when he's gone. And he's trying to set up mechanisms that will have long term impact for the country, as opposed to running around and reacting to the demands or the emotional needs that people keep the emotional issues that people respond to. He's trying to take it further and set long-term mechanisms, try things he talked about with tariffs, do long-term economic change. This isn't instant gratification. This is nation building for the future with our children and with world peace. And I know that sounds, a little hippie, but the reality is he is looking you know, to calm the world down. The things that have been in place since the beginning of time are very difficult to unearth and change. And you can only, tackle so many things at a time. Just because we changed all the secretaries and a little bit of their staff doesn't mean that the embedded bureaucrats are going to get in line and do what's best for the country. They're not. And those people need to be weeded out and eliminated, and we need to put people we can trust. But that is a difficult, there's thousands of people they need to bring. So it is such a monumental task. I think it gets diluted, and I think we do need to step back a little bit and go, the things that he's trying to do are long term for the country. And if we this is the only chance we really have to even do this. When he's gone, is the next person going to be as strong as him? He's a unicorn. He's a once in a lifetime guy. He's flawed person, we all are, but nobody is that gutsy to go out and attack this stuff, that most people just shy away. They have their moment in the sun, they try to do a couple things, but they are not driven by um, a real love of the country and the future of kids and his kids and grandkids. And I really think that motivates him. I think at the end of the day, it's about what's good for the country when he's long gone. And that's really, and I have to put my eye on that as opposed to, oh, we didn't take care of this quick enough, or, you know, the Epstein stuff is disgusting. It's it is an abomination against humanity, 100%. But if we frog march every single one of the perpetrators into jail tomorrow, is it going to fix the pain and suffering of the American people just to live their lives? We want it, and maybe we're going to get it if we those things take time to put together evidence and build cases. We're also working against a judiciary that is activists. They have activist judges. I mean, we can't deport criminal aliens without being fought tooth and nail. We have judges saying, nope, you can't. We have the guy's convicted. You can't make him leave. Why? Do you lock your front door at night? I lock my front door. I don't let people just walk on in and open my refrigerator and sleep on my couch. So why these people are standing in the way? They're standing in the way.
If I may, can I interject?
Yes, you can. It's your show.
Nah, when you're on the Tower Show, we're gonna carry this today, right? So, had a phone call today from somebody from New York, and man, it's just like I think she didn't really realize how much of a liberal she sounded like, and I just think that she got mad when I called her a racist, but she didn't want me to finish to make my point. She was upset because someone lost their life, and she's crying because she's saying people don't get due process. She's a Latina, so maybe she knows somebody who got snatched up. If she did, they got the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I'm not in nobody's country illegally. But what I tried to emphasize to her, and I had to do several times before she agreed, was that illegal immigration hinders specifically foundational Black Americans. And I had to question her several times as to why she would care about 20 million people who shouldn't be here, opposed to the indigenous people who blood, sweat, and tears built the whole experience that she has.
Hmm.
And she became very elevated. She continued
Hmm.
to cut me off. She was irate. And sometimes she was emotionally uncontrollable. And I started to raise my voice with her. It seemed as if it was getting nowhere. So I had to tell her at some point, I can't talk to you anymore. We're gonna have to stop talking to one another, right? Um, but long story short, man, she's fucking batshit crazy about Donald Trump. She lost her whole complete mind when having the discussion today because she talked about the lady who lost her life, the man who lost his life, and then she said, they're not getting due process. Then I had to explain to her that in no world can someone black chase down federal officers and accost them, break their equipment,
Hmm.
then be seen out again in front of them. Because if that was a black guy and he had a gun, everybody would have every excuse as to why the hell would you have a gun around the police? I mean, even though it's your right, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying if he
Hmm.
was black, the total discussion would be totally different, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
This white guy was running around doing all this crazy shit, and had he been home, would not have been killed. But I had to ask her, why is she holding Donald Trump responsible for something that individuals specifically done themselves?
You bet.
And then why are you so upset when there are 20 million people who shouldn't be here? They're paying them to leave and they're not even taking the money to go. You're
Nope.
talking about Minnesota. They stole billions of dollars. You're not even upset about that. What the fuck? What the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't know what's going on. I see a lot of people are upset and they're saying that the world is ran by pedophiles who are vampires. And when I was saying this 10, 15 years ago, people were calling me incredibly crazy. If you Google me online right now, I'm still labeled as a QAnon conspiracy theorist, so on and so forth. But everything that I have been saying for all these years has been true. I do believe in my heart of hearts that there is people in this administration that is giving this president some bad advice because they are trying to coddle this president into being as lame as possible because they're trying to save this deep state. It is impossible for anyone to sit there and then tell me that when Pam Bondi sat there and gave the stock exchange information instead of a direct answer, I wanted Matt Gates. Not
So did
saying
I.
she's not smart. Yeah, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that she's not smart. I'm not saying that she's not a brilliant legal mind. I'm saying for that position, I don't think that that's good. I just don't think that it's good. And this is the reason why I don't think that Trump has any nefarious involvement because he asked for Matt Gates first.
you bet. You bet.
And
She
I
doesn't
don't
know how to
think that
take the incoming. She's emotional. She doesn't know how to take the incoming. And Matt Gates did. And I wanted him to fight hard for him. I really did. I'm with you on that. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, we have so much buried corruption. Unearthing it is super difficult. And there are people that are getting very wealthy off of it. And the administration has learned how to play the game a little better, and that does that kind of it mutes some of the passion that Trump had in the beginning, the sloppiness, the humanity of him. But and we're in a better place as far as perception goes
we're in a better
because
place as far as everything, security
y-
wise. Like, this is what I'm saying, sis. Like, sorry to cut you off, but this is what I'm
no,
saying.
no,
This is the
please,
reason why I am disgusted with the people in this administration is because the border is secure. Amen.
amen.
Okay. The 401ks is looking good. Amen.
Hmm. You bet.
We have a reasonable expectation as far as healthcare is concerned moving forward because they're talking about cutting checks and sending it to us. Amen.
Amen.
The kids are safe from shots to be bombarded, so they come out docile or with some form of an illness or
Autism.
sickness or autism. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
You bet.
We have a deep state that has been exposed. We are saving the elections because we know for a fact that the 2020 election was stolen and we're going to fix it. Amen.
Amen. I feel like I'm in
So,
church.
like, yeah, I'm just saying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, okay.
So
So,
much is happening. No, it's huge. Yeah.
you cure sickle cell, different forms of cancer, and then you have nobody in this administration that's actively celebrating this shit. Like, this is monumental because sickle cell affects tons of African Americans in the United States of America, and you've extended countless lives through this. You don't
Hmm.
celebrate RFK Jr. You don't do enough to promote what he has done with Maha. And this it's not like it's like I get frustrated, sis, because so many people be like, he's not doing this, and the president is this, and I'm just sitting there like, yo, it's a guy behind a desk that got like 1,000 people working for him, right? Like, you
Yeah.
know how hard it is to remember every name? You think that he makes every single because people run those departments and they're expected to do their job and and give their own yes or no on certain things
Hmm.
without him because they work at the pleasure of the president. They don't work at his direction. The people who are under his direction are the people who are in his immediate cabinet. I don't think people
Yeah.
understand how it works. But the people who are in this administration have talked about none of those beautiful things.
That's
None.
just bad messaging. That's bad communications. I mean, they need you and I to sit there and say, look, we have our finger on the pulse. We watch, we're paying attention to what people think and say. And I think there's too much to do, and they don't have enough people really focused on the messaging and reacting and responding to what people want to know and hear about. And I think that's an issue that should be improved. Um, the president doesn't handle 90% of it. I mean, he really has little or nothing to do with the communications. The press briefing today with Caroline Levitt, she really went over like the economy and some amazing numbers. I mean, jobs numbers, the wages, unemployment, the number of Americans who are getting these jobs. These numbers go back to the 60s. They're the lowest levels of unemployment and inflation. It's astounding. And the difference and even affordability of being able to buy a house. Yes, sir. Oh, you're going to make me get my glasses so I can read? Let's
Nah,
see.
I'm just showing the chat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You bet. You
Just
have
showing the
people, they're
chat.
working at cross purposes, and they use mainstream media to keep people ignorant to the good things that are happening. And if you I've had many of a debate with people who have TDS, a lot of debates. And we've
17
had
years
to,
ago.
oh
Sorry,
yeah,
but
they've had the
so
information. No,
17
yeah.
years ago. So
Hmm.
how this is what I'm saying.
They
Everything
didn't
he put
want to
at his
solve the
feet,
problem.
they
They
didn't
didn't
want to
want to
solve the
solve it.
problem.
They
This
don't want to
problem could
cure
have been
cancer.
solved.
It's too, they make too much money. They don't want to solve these problems. It's a racket. It's a racket. So we know that. And all we can do is continue to speak truth and keep fighting for every small win. And if they won't talk about it, and people like you, people like me can talk about it one on one, on lives, to whomever, and to
This was
spread truth.
this was
That's all
Barack
you can do.
Obama's term.
Oh, I know.
Was Obama's administration.
Yep. Yep.
17 years ago. This was Obama's administration.
Yeah. It's
So
unbelievable.
this
Hmm.
was Obama's administration that had this man come forward and the FBI knew and nothing was done.
And they let it
This
go
is
on
the
17 more years for people to get abused and hurt and killed and God knows what else, and children to be ruined mentally for life, having to go through the abomination of what these people had done. And they didn't care. They did not care. And that should chill the bone of everybody, left or right. It has nothing to do with politics. It's being a human being and losing track of being a human being, and that's a sick thing. It really is.
I feel
Yeah, I
bad,
mean,
man. I feel bad for like people don't really it's like it's there's so much that's happening and I think that this shit is just like it's all rigged, man, because you can't be part of the political party that bankrupt one political party morally and financially, shown that they were abusing children and advocated for the abuse and mutilation of children. You're everyone's certain that these people who are mutilating themselves and becoming eunuchs or mutilating themselves and removing, their breasts,
yes, mhm,
um, they have this is a mental illness, and
absolutely.
it's a mental illness,
But
and
it's
these are the people who have been very violent because we don't live in the same world, and it was during this time that all of those things were exposed and women were again protected again, and for somebody it's crazy. Like I feel really bad because I know it's hard to try to figure it out. You understand? Like understand it. You know what I mean? Get a hold on it. Try to talk to the people. And I just feel like had this administration just told them to just, because if you just talk to the people, that's what you should do. You know what I mean? Like if this is how you fix the problem before there's even a problem. You consider people. You know what I mean? Like, it's the best thing that you could do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's to take the time to consider people. Don't wave it off because it's not something that you wave off, but you can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time.
mhm.
So you
But
don't,
don't you? Don't you think Trump cares? I mean, he does consider people. I think that he puts people
No,
first at the end of
I
it.
do. You don't understand. I do. That's why I voted for him,
Mhm.
right? But there are people in this administration that's not carrying that message. And as
And that's a
something
rough.
that is,
Yeah.
yeah, and for something as important as you releasing these files, which has caused all of this, and I mean, it's not like it's not worthy of it, right? But if you would have got ahead of this and sat
Mhm.
people down, what does a doctor do before he tells you what your illness is? He sits you down first, doesn't
Sure,
he?
there's a little
He sits you down.
consultation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he sits you down, like, and he gives you the, well, but he sits you down, like, you understand. So I think that because yes, he is considerate, he cares about people. That's why he goes above and beyond. That's why he works late. Okay, okay, with all of that, but sitting down before the absolute release, dwindling that far outside expectations, so people are not taking any and everything, which is even
Mhm.
just gossip, and then
Right.
using it as factual material. You understand?
Mhm.
Or salacious material. We're
Right.
talking about Elvis in here. He didn't know Elvis. He didn't know Elvis Presley.
No.
Jeffrey didn't know Elvis Presley. He
No.
didn't know. No, he didn't know
No,
Elvis.
Jeffrey didn't. Trump
No,
probably
he didn't
did.
know. Did Trump? Maybe, possible,
Mhm.
but Jeffrey didn't know. You know what I mean? So, but having to sit down, talking to the people, telling the people, hey, this is what's in here, this is what you can expect, and then making it where they put it in different slots so people know, okay, this came from the hotline, this came from the actual investigation. Like, you understand? Like, and then you go in and you do sit down with the people who are victims. You
Mhm.
do sit down with them and find out how they also um victimized people, because a lot of
Yes,
them
they did.
did also go
They
in to
trafficked
procure
people,
other
yeah.
girls and
Some.
traffic
Mhm.
people too as well.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not
You
saying
bet.
that these are bad people. I'm just saying, like, this is how you get, to the end of everything. You understand? Like,
Mhm.
so you would want to talk to them too as well. But they didn't even do that shit either.
I I'm still gonna be devil's advocate, and I'm gonna say that when he came back in, he knew that there was such an economic mess. There were so many things to unwind, that and there was so little time that he was trying to just do a million things at one time to unwind, everything that had really been perpetrated on the country over the course of that 4 years. And it was a Obama's third term, and you touched upon, the mutilation and all of that stuff, and I want to bring this up because it's important. You know, Saul Alinsky, Useful Idiots, and that is from the playbook of ways to denigrate and bring down society and control society. And these are tactics and mechanisms to undermine societal norms, to get rid of the family, to divide people, to control the economy, the medicine, the food. Um, these levers have been going on for a very, very long time. And so you get in there, and I can just see it's almost a fire drill. You run into the White House and you're like, "Oh my God, there's 200 problems. What do I have to touch first, right? What do I have to touch first?" And
I
they're
don't think
just
that
like,
he failed at putting out fires, right?
there's a
I don't
million
think,
of them.
remember, I'm not saying him specifically, right? Look,
I know.
I'm telling you, I feel bad for him. Is what I
I
keep
do
telling you,
too.
right?
I do
Because
too.
you just said something and he did it. He went across seas. They called him daddy. They called me daddy. I went there. They called me daddy. Okay, I made him give me my money back.
Hmm.
He got us out of the WHO. These are things that some of the most important conspiracy theorists knows is the most important thing. Like, you understand? Like, is so much things that has been done right that
And
had
and we're
this.
not going to get it all right. We're not.
But you know
And
what though? We did. Listen, we dumped all the files. We
we
put it
did, and
all
it was
out there.
sloppy, and it was a little messy, and there were
Yeah,
some
that was
mistakes
messy. Now
made.
that wasn't, but
Okay, fine.
you still got it.
You
Still
did
got
it.
it. It was you got it.
And
So
then
it's not perfect.
and the Democrats are breaking their necks going, "Oh, you're stopping them from being released." Well, wait a minute, but now you released them, but you shouldn't be putting them out because they're not redacted properly. And they just can't, they're literally getting whiplash trying to move around and just take the opposite side no matter what he says. It's just the nature of him because he is a counter to them. He's a counter to the established order of the traditional, rhino, the traditional politics. And look, when I go to hire a gardener, I can't always hire the best person to cut my trees or my grass. There's thousands of people he's got to bring in. He's not going to bat 1,000 every time. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to bring people in who aren't as strong, who are they come off, hey, I'm great, I'm on your side, and then they're going to get in office or get in their position, and they're going to undermine him. So it's almost impossible to vet everybody and have enough of a tight circle of people. There are mistakes that are going to be made, and I have to look at the little wins, the long-term wins, and the fact that we're human beings and we're not fallible. We're going to make mistakes.
I think there's been
And
nothing but wins, to be honest
I
with
think
you.
there's been a lot of wins, but
I
these
think there's been nothing but wins. I just feel like it's just been overshadowed with a ton of false gossip because
bad
there has been
PR. Yeah.
people in this administration with NPR who has who doesn't have the ability to handle this. And maybe this feels too heavy for them because this is some crazy shit. I mean, you talking about crowns, former presidents. Like, I mean, you talking about actors, Hollywood, because it exposes the facade of everything. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and it goes a lot deeper. It could expose a whole lot more, depending on how deep people are actually looking at it. Because whether people realize it or not, if they did take that COVID shot, they might have Jeffrey's DNA in them.
Mhm. That's a
Crazy.
horrifying thought.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think I
even
sent it
like
to you,
that
so you
shit.
can get it back to me so I can post it. But yeah, um, because he worked with Bill, he worked with Gates, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He worked with them, so yeah. So but I just I
There's
feel
a
like
lot.
there's been nothing but wins. I just feel like the people who have been, and this is my frustration, is the people who have the ability to, because you don't need to paint a perception. You need to celebrate the wins.
Yes.
And this is the problem. Like even the media can try as much as they want to be negative as they want it, but you had the momentum so far ahead that you only needed to celebrate every time they failed at something. You know what I mean? Like you can go online, you could have been got on top of these files being released in a way that people could have known what to expect. You let Congress and them rush you and you put shit out sloppy. You didn't
Hmm.
even know what you had from the beginning. I wish that, she hired Matt Gates as a number two and she just
Oh.
go ahead, she says, gonna let Matt take it. And I know it's stupid to say it because then it makes this administration look weak, right? We know she's loyal to Trump. We
Hmm.
know that we know that Pam is loyal to Trump. So I'm not saying she should leave because of that. I'm saying personally, I don't think that she can handle herself in front of Congress. That's my whole problem.
So
Like, look,
did you hear the little tidbit where she made the unredacted files available to everybody and anybody in Congress? But the caveat was they had to access the computer from a specific location, a SCIF that was designated for that review, and they had to log in and do the searches under their own name. Well, all those searches are being recorded. So it's not as if they are just getting to go in there anonymously and look up and find their name or whatever topic they're looking for. Every single keystroke is being recorded because they're controlling where they can view those files. So maybe, we have to wait and give her a little credit or give the administration or the DOJ a little credit that they are letting them implicate themselves by doing those searches on that designated computer. I'm a very patient person, and as I said before, the world has had, you know, decades, hundreds of years of
Of these
questionable
people,
behavior
yes,
long before the
hundreds of
country
years.
was even formed, really.
Facts. Yes.
Facts. So it's all, we are the only constitutional republic on the planet. When anybody says we're a democracy, I want to jump through the screen and slap them because we're not. We are a constitutional republic. We are not a democracy. And that is some, when you're at the top, everybody's trying to take your place. They're trying to knock you down from the top spot. It's a constant battle. So I think that there are some behind the scenes things going on. And I think if they even appear to be slightly disorganized, maybe that works to their advantage. Maybe all these other people think that they can outsmart them and outwit them because they're so, you know, discombobulated, they don't know what they're doing, and then they're going to get caught. Because when you're too arrogant, you make mistakes. Maybe there's mistakes that are going to come. To me, the number one, the most important thing we have right now is election integrity, voter ID. You're not going to talk me out of that. I mean, we don't even have a country to talk about without legitimate elections, and we haven't had one of those in, I don't know, 20 plus, maybe longer, really, maybe since the 50s or 60s,
I
where
think
there was
that
no manipulation. And we need that back. 100%, we need that back. So this is this is a lot to unwind. And hey, they need a good comms team like you and me to help them, put their hands on it. So make a call, Tony. I'll get on there. I'll sit on and
I don't even want to put you through that torture
as your comms director,
because I can tell you this
Kimberly,
right
comms
now.
director. Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'll make
It
that
doesn't
call.
matter. You can give everyone the most brilliant ideas. Don't get me wrong. Yes, yeah. Some people sometimes they'll follow through. Right. I'm not gonna say that they're not. I'm just saying that this shouldn't be this sh- this shouldn't be like there's too many things that he's done. Do you understand what I mean? Like talking about the kids, like the Trump accounts, you're talking about the health plans for 'em. I mean, all of these things, and this shit not celebrated. We just had a beautiful event at the White House for Black History Month, and you don't even hear anything about that. And I just feel like there isn't a commitment towards, you can't put it all on his shoulders. You know what I mean? Like you
Mhm.
can't put it all on the shoulders. Um, the world will always have conspiracy theorists, and some of us are a lot more, you know, I guess, deeper than others, and some of us just realize to some extent, you can expect but so much. You know what I mean? Like especially
Mhm.
in the world that you didn't build yourself.
Mhm.
But hundreds of years, there's been families who've done these horrible things, and it was this guy that exposed it all. And I just feel like there are people who don't know how to deliver on the message, and it's just looking bad, you know.
It's the beginning of the battle. It's the beginning of the battle. What's the therapy? The line in therapy, the first step in change is discovery. It's understanding what the problem is, and once you identify it, that's half the battle. And you can't change anything until you identify the problem. This is going to take time. It's going to take people like you and me and others that are in independent media to to talk about it, to celebrate the wins, to make it more widely known, to engage with people who have a negative viewpoint, and show them with facts that they're wrong. Let the emotion set aside the emotion, and look at the facts. I mean, I've done this many times where I've literally debated people and I would say, cite something, give me a factual thing. back to Charlottesville, when they, the whole thing, there were good people on both sides. And that whole soundbite that was completely blown out of proportion. It was misrepresented, and nobody, when you call people out just on one simple, people are simple. They don't want to be um, considering 100 different topics at one time just because your brain works that way, or even mine. People are living their lives, but you can take one issue at a time and say, okay, let's hash this out. Let's pull up the facts. You hate him, he's a racist, give me examples, and I'm going to give you the counter to that. He's a pedophile, show me the receipts of this, and I will put in with you if you can produce it, and I'll calmly have that conversation with you. um, and I've done it with very, very far left people, even family members, in-laws and whatnot. It,
You
and
know,
they get frustrated when they lose, and so then you have to say, what is it? It's probably something in them, and it has nothing to do. It's an outlet for their own personal frustration, but you're going to leave a kernel of knowledge in their minds even when they hang up and they're angry or they're mad because you called them out. Some of it's going to be left behind. There's an echo of it, and it'll be a part of them, and they're going to think about it one day. But you have to keep telling the story and enlightening people even when they fight you on it. I mean, you do that with your children, you do that with your friends, you fight for people that are lost. And I do that, I try to do that every day. Even in comments, I try to do that. So, and nothing's going to make me stop that. So, there's my sermon for today. And you're good at it, Tony. You're good at presenting the argument calmly with facts. And I think you can change the world one person at a time. And maybe that's too idealistic. I don't know. I'm going to always be an optimist. Even at the worst, I'm going to say, what can I do, you know, for what can I do for my country? What can I do for my future, my kids' future? I care about it, and I'm going to fight for it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time if I need to. So, and there's motivation to do that, right? I mean, you've got lots of reasons to fight this
I think that
this system. You have
I
a lot
think
of good
that
reasons.
I think that I think that first, let me just do the last thing you just said, then I'll get to other stuff. You shouldn't have to fight the system. And that's the horrible thing. And for hundreds of years, these people have existed. They've done these horrible things.
Mm.
And it's just all going to get exposed. The worrying about what stocks, or you should just start making contingency plans. You should start letting, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's the cat's out the bag. The
Absolutely.
emperor, yeah, the emperor's not wearing pants. All right. And everyone knows, like, everyone's looking at the royals, everyone's looking at whoever, you name them, they don't care. You know what I mean? Like, they're looking at everybody. And it was a major blackmail card for the United States on other nations. I'm sure to some extent, some of this information uh, could be even something that, let's just say that Jeffrey was blackmailing people for other people. But then Donald Trump's the guy who stops the blackmail, stops this guy, takes control of the apparatus again. They start to gut out the bad people who are inside, start to try to put people in place, that mean well and want to do well for the country. And you stop the blackmail, but you have blackmail on a lot of other people. You get them to start putting money in, and money's pouring in, and everything else looks good. I think people were concerned with there being a new world order. And that's the reason why so many people were flocking towards China, because they was going to sack this country. They were going to call in on all debts. And that's why China was flying the balloons over. It was going to create provinces. And the powers that be wanted to make China the new, place for everything. They was going to just turn this into a third world country. And I think that his reassurance to a lot of world leaders, even people like Putin, was for him to just convey to them, like, I'm not for the centralized banking system. And, I want to be able to build something that's going to remove these people because they're dinosaurs. It's obsolete. You know what I mean? Like, there's no need to have them when we can all have our own digital currency, control the population,
WEF,
yeah,
yep.
yeah, you feel
You'll be
me? Like,
happy and you'll own nothing.
you'll be on nothing. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but he got us out of it. And,
What and how about the World Health Organization when they wanted they where we were this close to signing a treaty giving them sovereignty over our country in the event of a pandemic. They were literally going to let them tell us what to do, and we would sign that treaty and be obligated to do what they told us to do in the event of a pandemic. And that was, we were like a millimeter away from being tied into that
they
before
already
Trump got
knew
elected.
that the pandemic was coming because they caused
But I mean,
it.
in the future, they were trying to set that treaty during Biden's term. We were right there. They said, oh, it was going to be signed in March, then they delayed to May. And we dodged that bullet because they were going to hand over our sovereignty to
To
the
China. To China. It was
WHO.
going, yeah.
And yeah, you
It was
bet.
going to China. Like the New World Order, the globalized banking system had it to where it was like, okay, we're going to call in on all debts in the United States. We're going to break the system. They're throwing money away, giving money away. And they would have just called in on everything. China would have called in on everything. What they try to do now also was try to sack Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and they try to sack it completely because they don't want Trump to pay off the debt with cryptocurrency, which I believe he could be planning to do.
They don't want them to pay off the debt, period. They're in they have relevance and they have a machine to perpetuate their control and their wealth when we are broken. And broken is the way they make themselves relevant. And that's just a fact. So,
Just
you know,
start. This is a sorry thing to see all of these things happening. That's good, and at the same time, seeing all of the people that pray for all of these things to happen, not even taking the time to realize that the things they pray for is happening. Yo, we're about to get out of here. I think we cooked in here for 52 minutes. We gave him a
it was
whole
awesome.
beautiful long hour show, and I definitely appreciated talking to you today. Yeah, in
Sure.
closing, I just want to say, man, I think that there was so many incredible things done within the first 12, 13 months of, this presidency. And it was completely overshadowed by individuals who did not have the ability and foresight to be able to address people and get ahead of a lot of things. That way the country will be prepared to move forward. And simply, putting things out there and, telling people you're going to do something isn't what we're asking for. Transparency is, holding people accountable who should be held accountable. And I do believe at some point they're going to, because they're going to even be calling, I believe, Bill Gates in front of Congress to answer about his involvement. So we'll soon see, man. No, I'm not enthusiastic about anything. I used to be about a lot of things, but I'm no longer that gullible. But I do pray and hope that something does happen because the nation definitely needs it. What do you have to say to get us out of here?
I'm still optimistic and I'm gonna always I'm a problem solver. I'm always gonna look for an answer and I'm gonna keep staying in the positive lane because if you're negative, you're not gonna you have no power, no strength to actually make change. So I'm gonna stick with the positive attitude to change what I can one thing at a time.
Me too. Wakanda
Sounds good.
forever. Talk to you. We're gonna do
Awesome.
this again tomorrow, probably, man. You guys, good night. We appreciate you
Sounds
for
good.
being here with us and rocking out with us. Just an open conversation. I hope you guys join the chat next time. Say what you believe in the chat. If you disagree or if you have anything that you want to add, say it in the chat so we can address it when we see you. We want to be able to shout you out and talk to you. I'm going to be back creating content. It's about to be up again. You guys, talk to you later. Peace.